Hey everybody, Qroo here. You've probably heard terms like A2, B1, and C1 to describe Spanish proficiency levels. But what do they actually mean in real life? How do you classify your own level of Spanish? Well, I'm going to help you out with that a little bit. This video is actually a self-assessment test. And here's how it works. There's going to be 10 rounds, and in each round, I'm going to give you 3 English sentences to translate. The first one is for beginners. Well, not absolute beginners, because you probably won't get any of these right, but you know, beginners. I want to go to the beach. Next sentence is at an intermediate level. I want to go to the beach early to avoid the traffic. And the third one is advanced. I want to go to the beach early to avoid the traffic, and so my kids will be able to swim before it gets too hot. Now let's talk about scoring. If you can confidently translate the beginner sentence, that's 1 point. 2 points for the intermediate one, and 3 points for the advanced sentence, okay? So that is a maximum of 6 points per round with 10 total rounds. That means the top score will be 60. Now only count the ones that you can say naturally without looking anything up. I mean, you're the one judging this, all right? So be hard on yourself, but not too hard. At the end of this thing, we're going to put all your points together and see what level you fall into. I think it'll be fun, don't you? All right, let's get started with round 1, and don't forget to keep track of your score as you go. I'm going to pause after saying each sentence in English. That gives you a chance to say them out loud. If you need more time, be sure to hit pause. Let's go ahead and start with the ones from the intro. Remember those sample ones? They're pretty good. Let's start with those. Beginner sentence. I want to go to the beach. Now, I'm not going to say what it is because then you're going to get intermediate and advanced, right? Just remember what your answer is. Intermediate sentence. I want to go to the beach early to avoid the traffic. Advanced sentence. I want to go to the beach early to avoid the traffic, and so my kids will be able to swim before it gets too hot. All right, you got that? All right, let's go into the answers here. Our beginner one is Quiero ir a la playa. Our intermediate one, Quiero ir a la playa temprano para evitar el tráfico. And the advanced one, Quiero ir a la playa temprano para evitar el tráfico y para que mis hijos puedan nadar antes de que haga demasiado calor. So let's break down what I was looking for in the sentences here, especially that last one to make sure you get it right. What I'm really focusing on is if you notice those subjunctive triggers. The phrase para que mis hijos puedan nadar requires subjunctive. Make sure it's puedan and not pueden. That's what I'm looking for. And another subjunctive trigger in there is antes de que. Haga is what I'm really looking for there. That is the subjunctive. Okay, if you got all that, that is fantastic. That is an advanced structure right there. Now, if you had some different vocabulary, like you said niños instead of hijos, or said calor instead of mucho calor, or demasiado calor, that's fine. All right, you still get points. You're grading yourself. Okay. Now, round 2. Ready? Beginner sentence. I have to study. Intermediate. I have to study because I have a test tomorrow at 9 o'clock. And advanced. I have to study because I have a test tomorrow at 9 o'clock. I don't want to arrive late, so I'm going to leave the house at 7. If you need more time with that, you can hit pause. If not, we are going to move on to our suggested translations. Our beginner sentence, tengo que estudiar. Intermediate, tengo que estudiar porque tengo un examen mañana a las 9. And our advanced one, which is actually 2 sentences. They don't always just have to be 1 sentence, folks, you know. Break out of that mold. Tengo que estudiar porque tengo un examen mañana a las 9. No quiero llegar tarde. Así que voy a salir de la casa a las 7. If you got the structure right and everything flowed naturally, give yourself the points. All right, let's move on. Round 3. Beginner. Yesterday, I went to the store. Intermediate. Yesterday, I went to the store to buy chicken. Advanced. Yesterday I went to the store to buy chicken, but they didn't have any, so I bought hamburgers. If you need more time, you can pause it. Otherwise, we're going to move on to our suggested translations. For beginners, ayer fui a la tienda. For intermediate, ayer fui a la tienda a comprar pollo. And the advanced one, ayer fui a la tienda a comprar pollo, pero no tenían. Así que compré hamburguesas. All right, let's break it down. In the intermediate and advanced sentences, make sure you used a comprar and not para comprar. The natural phrasing in Spanish when we're using ir to go to a place to do something is to use a and not para. It's just a little nuance there, and that's why it's an intermediate and advanced. Now, in the English, I said they didn't have any, so that's why the translation is no tenían, because it's in the imperfect because that's ongoing at that point. Maybe you tweaked it a little bit and you said there wasn't any, no había, or something like that. That's fine. You give yourself the point on that. Don't be too hard on yourself. Let's move on to the next one. Round 4. Beginner. I like dogs. Intermediate. I like dogs, but I don't have any. Advanced. I like dogs, but I don't have any because I'm allergic to them. Pause the video if you need more time, okay? Let's move on to our translations on this. For beginners, me gustan los perros. And you should say los perros and have the definite article there to get full points, okay? Intermediate. Me gustan los perros, pero no tengo ninguno. And advanced, me gustan los perros, pero no tengo ninguno porque soy alérgico a ellos. And if you're a female, alérgica. And if you left off the a ellos and just said, I'm allergic, that's fine too. As long as you're using the right structure there and it sounded natural, give yourself points. All right, let's move on to round 5. Beginner. I want to move to Mexico. Intermediate. When I retire, I plan to move to Mexico. And advanced. When I retire, I plan to move to Mexico. If I had the money now, I'd move today. I need more coffee. If you need more time, feel free to pause the video. Beginner. Quiero mudarme a México. And your verb there should be mudarse, right? To move to a location, not moverse if you use that one. That's not correct. That's what I'm looking for there. Intermediate. Cuando me jubile, pienso mudarme a México. What I'm looking for there in the first part is that you used the subjunctive, okay? Because you're talking about something that has to happen before the rest of the clause occurs. That's really what I'm looking for there. And our advanced sentence, Cuando me jubile, pienso mudarme a México. Si tuviera dinero ahora, me mudaría hoy. What I'm looking for there is really focused obviously on that last sentence because we talked about everything else. And I'm looking for that you use the imperfect subjunctive, si tuviera el dinero. I'm looking for that and then matched it with the conditional. Me mudaría hoy. I would move today. And if you got that right, boom, you get full points on this. I mean, nice job. A lot going on there. All right. All right, let's move on to round 6. Beginner. I don't understand. Intermediate. I don't understand what you're saying. Advanced. I don't understand what you're saying because you're speaking too fast and I'm not used to your accent. Ready? Pause it if you need more time. Beginner. No entiendo. And if you use comprender, no comprendo, you get points, okay? Either one of those verbs I'll accept. Intermediate. No entiendo lo que estás diciendo. What I'm looking for there is the lo que That's really important there. And of course, estás diciendo is important, but really that lo que to get points for intermediate. And advanced, no entiendo lo que estás diciendo porque hablas demasiado rápido y no estoy acostumbrado a tu acento. And if you're a female, it'd be acostumbrada a tu acento. What am I looking for there? Basically that, okay? If that's basically what you have there, then give yourself points. Nice job on that. Just had to get another cup of coffee. This is definitely a 2-cup video. Round 7. Beginner, my arm hurts. Intermediate, my arm hurts because I fell yesterday. Advanced, my arm hurts because I fell yesterday. It was raining, so I tried to run to the car, but I slipped and fell. It's a long one. Pause the video if you need more time. Beginner, me duele el brazo. And what's really important there, I mean, obviously you want to get your verbs and everything, but you didn't say mi brazo, it's el brazo. If you said mi brazo, don't give yourself points on that, all right? Intermediate, me duele el brazo porque me caí ayer. You should have basically just that, not a lot of stuff to work with there. And the advanced one, this was a long one, right? Me duele el brazo porque me caí ayer. Estaba lloviendo, así que traté de correr al coche, maybe you have carro, y me resbalé y me caí. So what's important in there? I keep saying así que for so. You might have por eso or something else. That's minor. As far as tried to run, you may have another verb, intentar. You may have said intenté correr. Okay, that's fine too. You may have chosen some different wording, but if it still flowed naturally and you're getting this point across, you get the points, all right? Now on to round 8. Beginner, Maria told me the truth. Intermediate, Maria told Juan the truth. Advanced, Maria told Juan the truth because she thought that he was going to find out anyway. Pause it if you need more time. Otherwise, let's move on to our translations. Beginner, María me dijo la verdad. Intermediate, María le dijo la verdad a Juan. What I'm looking for in that second one is that you have the le and Juan is mentioned. You have both of them in there. That redundant le is important. And the advanced one starts the exact same way. María le dijo la verdad a Juan porque pensaba que él iba a enterarse de todos modos. Let's talk about a couple of the points on the advanced one. It uses pensaba, the imperfect tense, because you're describing, or we're describing, I guess I was describing. Anyway, I was describing Maria's thought process at the time she told him. You know, she was thinking this, and that's why it came out. It's setting that background mental state. And that brings us to round 9. Our beginner sentence, yesterday I saw Maria at the store. Intermediate, yesterday I saw Maria buying apples at the store. And advanced, yesterday I saw Maria buying apples at the store. I didn't say anything to her because I know she doesn't like me. If you need more time, pause the video, okay? Otherwise, we are going to move on to our translations. Beginner, ayer vi a María en la tienda. Intermediate, ayer vi a María comprando manzanas en la tienda. And the advanced one, ayer vi a María comprando manzanas en la tienda. No le dije nada porque yo sé que no le caigo bien. So let's go ahead and break that down. In our beginner version, ayer vi a María en la tienda, we're using the preterite, okay, of the verb ver. That's what I'm looking for. I'm also looking for the use of the personal a, that you have that in there between vi and María. That is probably the most important thing to get a point for that one. I don't have too much to say about the intermediate one. It should basically look like that to get points. And for the advanced sentence, let's talk about that second part there. What am I really looking for? The no le dije, I'm looking for the correct verb conjugation, obviously, and that the le is there. It's very important. Porque yo sé, you could have the yo or not the yo, could drop that, that's not important. Another thing I'm looking for is that expression, caer bien, that somebody falls well to you. It's a nice way to say you like someone. You could have used the verb gustar, and that's fine. But sometimes that verb comes also with like some emotional attachment. So I would prefer to use this one. If you use gustar, can you still get the point? I'll leave that up to you. If you feel good about it, you take it, all right? And that brings us to the 10th and final round. And that's good because I'm running out of coffee again. It's like down here. You know, stuff is just so good. You know, just saying. It's really good. Beginner sentence. I feel the wind on my face. Intermediate. When I feel the wind on my face, I feel happy. And advanced. When I feel the wind on my face, I feel happy because it reminds me of my childhood. Pause the video if you need more time. Otherwise, we're going to move on to our translations. All right? Beginner. Siento el viento en la cara. Intermediate. Cuando siento el viento en la cara, me siento feliz. What I'm looking for there is that you knew the difference between just using sentir and sentirse. So that's really what I'm looking for. So you feel the wind, right? Siento el viento en la cara. But you feel happy, so it's me siento feliz. That's what I'm looking for to get points on that. And with the advanced one, I'm just looking for the rest of it there, that it reminds you, you knew to use recordar. And if you had a different word instead of infancia, maybe you had niñez or something like that, that's fine. As long as you're conveying this idea in the same way and not losing information, you get points, all right? All right, now let's go ahead and tally things up and get this whole thing done and see how we did, all right? You got it all? Did all your addition in there? Got it? If you scored between 0 and 9 points, you are in the A1 range. That is beginner's territory. You probably understood the basics and maybe nailed a few of the short sentences, which is a great place to build on, all right? If you landed between 10 and 24 points, you're around that A2 level. That's what we'd probably call the advanced beginner. You're getting a bit more comfortable forming longer sentences, handling common verbs and expressions with simple ideas. Now, if you scored between 25 and 39 points, that puts you in the B1 range. That is intermediate. You're able to express yourself in a variety of everyday situations, use multiple tenses, and start experimenting with more complex ideas. If you scored 40 to 59 points, you're likely in the B2 range or the upper intermediate. You're showing control over the language, including tricky grammar like object pronouns, the subjunctive. You're getting more comfortable with that. And to be honest with you, when you're sitting in that level, you're considered fluent in Spanish. You know, you can communicate, you're understanding people. That's a great place to be. And if you got a perfect score, 60 out of 60, you're likely a high B2 or even a C1, because I didn't really push the C1 envelope to be sure of that. Or it might just be that you're just a really easy grader and you're like, I'll allow it. I was close enough. So that's all I have. Oh, one more thing. If you're looking to take your Spanish to the next level, you might want to think about joining my private learning group, the Qroo Spanish Crew, because I have a lot of resources there to help you get there. All right? Okay, now that's it, because I gotta go get more coffee. I'm jonesing for some coffee here. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And until next time, hasta luego.